Book of Wars against Jehovih, Chapter 12. Anuhasash, the false god, declareth himself against Jehovih. 1. Anuhasash never established the Deus, as projected at first, but took the name Deus upon himself, and became known in the heavens by that name. When he had thus established Horeb in its entirety, he gave a feast to the gods and goddesses, and after it was ended, previous to their departure, he spake before them, saying, 2. The time of duty is now upon you and upon me, the Lord your God also. Be ye then solicitous of these things I speak of, that in the everlasting times we may be brethren, and there shall be no other gods, but ourselves forever. 3. Behold, I have given into your hands to manage your own kingdoms in your way, for which reason I can no longer say, do ye this, or do ye thus and so, for my affairs are in mine own kingdom. But wherein I have wisdom, I freely impart, and the choice is yours, whether ye will follow my advice or do otherwise, for ye are of equal rank with me. And moreover, my kingdom is dependent upon you, and not yours upon mine. Hear ye then my words, as if I were but one in a council with wise gods. 4. To overturn Jehovah and his dominions on the earth and in these heavens will be your labor. And whenever corporeans embrace him, calling themselves faithists in the Great Spirit, or faithists in Jehovah, or faithists in Ormazd, or by any other name signifying the all-light, or unseen, or person of ever-presence, ye shall pursue them, and destroy them off of the face of the earth, to do which ye shall use the oracles, or prophets, and seers, or magicians, or inspiration, and ye shall set the kings and queens of the earth to war upon them, and spare them not, man, woman, or child. 5. And of spirits of the dead who fall into your respective kingdoms, being faithists, bring them before Anubi and his host, and he shall send them into regions of darkness, saying to them, Behold, ye have your Jehovah, and Anubi shall place guards over them, and they shall not know where to go, but will cry out in their darkness. 6. Whereupon they shall be sworn into servitude in Horeb to the Lord your God forever, and become slaves within your kingdoms. 7. And ye shall teach both mortals and spirits that Horeb is the all-highest heaven, and that it is the place of the all-highest God, even Deus. For them to attain which ye shall exact servitude of them in your heavens, accordingly as ye may desire. 8. In the rites and ceremonies, both in your heavens and on the earth, shall ye enforce the exchanging of words signifying Great Spirit to words signifying Lord God, who is of the form and size of a man, declaring of a truth that I sit on my throne in judgment of the world, for it is mine, and ye are one with me. 9. And all songs of praise shall be changed, and prayers and beseechings to your God instead of Jehovah or Ormazd or the Great Spirit. For both mortals and angels shall be made to know that he is my enemy, leading my people astray. And as to the prophets and seers on the earth, who will persist in preaching or singing to the Great Spirit, ye shall incite torture and punishment and death unto them. 10. And whether I be Deus or God or the Lord God or the All-Perfect, me only shall they worship forever. And my place, Horeb, shall be the sacred hill of God forever. And none shall approach me but by crawling on their bellies. For I will so exalt my lights that none can stand before me. 11. When the Lord God had finished his discourse, the other gods responded in love and adoration. Thus ended the feast. And, according to the rites in other heavens, the gods and goddesses went and sat at the foot of the throne. And Deus came down and took them by the hand, one at a time, and raised them up, saying, Arise, O God, and in my name and wisdom and power go thy way. Thus they departed. 12. And as to the earth, great havoc and persecution were visited upon the Zarathustrians and Israelites, being put to death by hundreds of thousands. Chapter 13. 1. Swift messengers coursing the heavens from far-off Etherian worlds, bound for destinations remote, passed over the regions of Horrid, and the high-raised travelers felt the discordant plots of Satan's Lord God and his hosts, thus bent to overthrow the Great Spirit's happy world. And so they sent word of it to Penta-Armage, through whose fields the great serpent moved along. And her most high council, one with the Creator, cast about to know the cause and treatment of the dastardly outrage. 2. Then spake Jehovih to his daughter, chieftainess, saying, The Lord God was duly honored in my name, and swore before me to serve faithfully forever, by his highest light. Hold thou him to his purpose, and bind him in the world he hath assumed to rule for his own glory. And to his fellow God, conspirators against me, who brought them into being, give thou them full sway to destroy my worshippers. Let them raise the name of their God, and bait mortal kings and queens to glut themselves in the havoc of my chosen, the faithists. 3. The earth neareth her greatest corporeal growth, and these self-assuming gods shall build monuments through their mortal emissaries in the greatest divisions of the earth, temples and pyramids and oracle palaces, which shall stand thousands of years as testimonies of the audacity of gods and saviors, to honor whom the Lord God hath sworn to make angels and men suppliant slaves in heaven and earth. 4. For I will use the corporeal temples and pyramids they had built on the earth at the expense of my chosen, as testimony in coming ages of the oppression and the hated heavenly kingdoms of these self-gods, till which time I cannot teach mortals of the vanity of the lower heavens, save in the deserted ruins of their mouldering monuments. 5. For in Cosmon, mortals shall know that even as the earth had been a place of foolish sacrifice to persons born of woman, so were my heavens debauched in that day by similar oppression and cruelty. 6. Let him who is falsely crowned Osiris build in the Osirian field, and him who is proclaimed Deus build in the Haden field, for the time shall come when these testimonies shall be required in the sum of earth and heaven. 7. For I will show them that without an all-highest person there is no resurrection for angels or men, of which they that are slaughtered, 10,000 millions, are bound by the Lord God, shall swear in Cosmon the fall of all things save me. 8. Down to the lower heavens, to God in Kraushivi, sent Penta-Armage swift messengers, with the words of Jehovih, comforting to God and his hosts, as to the wide plans on which the Father lieth the destinies of worlds. And God received them, and now comprehended why, alas, his diva came not, nor answered his call, but by resigning. 9. But God, the true ruler of heaven and earth, now saw how the prosperity of the indulged heaven had made bad men out of most holy gods, even as prosperity on the earth closeth up man's eyes against his Creator, making him an egotist in self and vociferous as to Jehovah's shortcomings, according to man's views. And God remembered how he had prayed for the continuation of the light in heaven, which Jehovah granted him, and he repented now, saying, 10. O Jehovah, why said I not, Thy will be done, let darkness come? Had I not seen on the earth how night must follow day and winter after summer, that I must need pray for endless light in a heaven where thy sons and daughters are as yet but babes in the time and course of worlds? Mine own judgment should have shown me that spells of darkness should follow seasons of light in thy lower heavens. For then had these half-tried lords and gods stopped to consider ere they rush into so mad a scheme. 11. God called together the holy council in Kraushivi, and told them of the words of the Creator, through his high-raised daughter. Then the council spake, All who chose, and the 30 millions listened. And meanwhile, messengers fresh from Horeb, the seat of rebellion, came in bringing full news to ch.12 of the proceedings of the Lord God, alias Deus, and his self-gods and goddesses. 12. When the full particulars had been related, and the council had spoken upon it, then the light of Jehovah came upon God, and God said, 13. In the name of our Father, I will speak to these gods and lords and acquaint them with Jehovah's words. Yeah, I will entreat them to return even as they were. 14. Then God, overwhelmed by the terrible adversity of the heavens entrusted to his keeping, as in a small degree the captain of a merchant's ship, far out at sea, meeting with a mishap of broken masts, stripped to the bulk and rudder gone, powerless to save, feeleth the burning shame of incompetence before mariners, so God, before the high race chiefs of the Etherian worlds, must helplessly view his shattered kingdoms. 15. With great sorrow, God sent word to Deus and his gods of Jehovah's warning, and he pled for them to return, as a father pleadeth to a wayward son. Off went the messenger swiftly, and God, even though long schooled to adverse trials and suspensions, burned with impatience for his messengers to return, hoping that his sweet pleadings might yet reverse the scenes. 16. Then came back the messengers, empty-handed. Not one of the truant gods had deigned to answer him. And God wept, scarce believing in his messengers, that so great an insult could be heaped upon him, who had done nothing whereof any one could complain. Then Jehovah came and spoke to God, saying, Weep not, my son. He who followeth his highest light from day to day, great is his glory. And in whatsoever he loseth, he shall regain 1,000-fold. Behold, I will bring love to thee that thou knowest not of. Remember thou, as this season is upon the earth and her heavens, even so do I send a season like unto it upon all my worlds.